Hello and welcome back, book gossipers. Joining us tonight is Becky, a fellow book lover in PA, the lovely S. Jackson, and co writer A. Raymond. We're going to be discussing um, S. Jackson's books and the sorry, and her co writer A. Raymond. We'll be doing some giveaways, maybe give away some prizes, and just some interview. If anybody has any questions, just put them in the comments section and we'll be sure to get around to those. So stick around and chill with us and we'll get started. Hi, Mary. How are you tonight?
Hi, Tara. I'm okay. And this is my husband, Michael. I would like to
Hello.
clarify. Can I clarify something, please?
Yes.
Um, I know that we were introduced as S. Jackson A. Raymond, which is technically correct, but we write under our real names, which are Mary and Michael Schmidt. That's what we do nowadays. And
Okay.
that's probably how we're going to do the rest of our books. So, not to make it too confusing, but there is that aspect.
Okay. All right. And I'll make sure to change that in upcoming interviews or anything that we do too to make sure that I have everything correct.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem.
So I don't know that Mike can actually hear anything from me from on my end, but he's here to wave and say hello, and then he's
Okay.
probably gonna go back to what he was doing.
Okay. Um, if you both want to answer the questions, y'all could trade out the headset if you would like for him to be able to talk to.
Okay, well we can do that too. We can just trade out the headset.
Okay. So first off, we'll just ask some get to know you questions.
Okay,
Um,
go for it.
so where are you from?
We live in the middle of the United States. Actually, we're in Kansas, the middle of Kansas, and we also have a place out in Lakewood, Colorado. So we have
You like
two
it
different
out?
places. Do we like it
That's
out there?
cool. You like it out?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's easier to breathe out there. Way easier.
Yeah.
There's a lot more smog, but it's drier, and so it's not as humid. And right where you're at right now, since you just had that storm, of course, it's really humid, and I have trouble breathing in that. So,
Right. Sorry, I don't know why that's making that noise. It's telling me something. Um,
I'm not hearing the noise.
oh, it must just be on my end then. I just want to make sure it wasn't dinging in your ear too. Where did you live as a child? Have you always lived in Colorado or moved around or
We were both born in Kansas, and we both grew up in Kansas. So we didn't go to Colorado until I ended up on a nursing contract in 2008. I mean, we've been out there for visits and such, but trips, but we didn't move out there until August of 2008.
hmm. So
And that
did
was
you
on a
do
nursing contract.
so you did travel nursing?
And we stayed. Yeah, there was other travel. There was travel to Seattle, travel to just different places. So, yeah, we did. And it was a good thing, but I had to hang up that hat. Um, I had to really hang that up in December of 2012 because of my health. So that ended that.
Right. Um so of course you're married. I was gonna ask that question next. How long have you guys been married?
We just celebrated our 30th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And how many siblings do you have? How many children do you have? Just tell us a little bit about your family, pets.
Okay,
Favorite
we
colors?
we have, well, that's complicated. A total of 4 children. My oldest, Shane, he strangled on his umbilical cord, and my youngest, Sam, features in 3 different books, and he passed away after a long cancer battle at age 5. And then the youngest one on my husband's side is Rachel, and she's married and has 2 kids. And I'm gonna put Mike on for a little bit. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good.
I'll ask you the same question that I asked her. How many kids do you have? How many siblings? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm I have four other brothers and sisters besides me, and Mary and I have our two children, and grew up in Kansas. Farm boy originally, so um, except for the time we spent in Colorado, I've spent most of my life here in Kansas.
So you like it there?
But you go out to Seattle when I go.
Yeah, we yeah, I like it here, but we travel all over the place. So
I bet you guys have seen some cool places with your traveling.
yes,
Let's see. Do you have a favorite color? I know.
blue. I'm wearing it right now.
And what kind of music do you guys like to listen to? Do
I
you
I,
have
I myself I like the classic rock.
classic rock? I like classic rock too sometimes. I kind of like a lot of different things. How about Mary? What kind of music does she like?
I think she mostly listens to the country side of it.
Yeah, I like country
A lot
too.
of 70s.
A lot of 70s. Yeah. Um, so when you guys write, you co-write every book or how does that work?
It flows back and forth. Um, Mary does a lot of the writing, but we bounce the stuff over, between ourselves. There's especially on the children's books and our squirrel books we did at the beginning. We collaborated on it, and we kind of put the preliminary book out, the story, and we'd go through it as it went through and made changes and stuff. So the children's books, it's what we seem to work on most together. The other books, Mary, I just kind of proof or go through or stuff like that.
Right. Um, so did Mary mostly write the her memoir, When Angels Fly? Did she mostly write that one by herself?
Yes, she did, but since I was part of that time frame in her life for some of it, we collaborated and discussed things about it.
Right. If you want to switch the headset back, I'll
Sure.
talk to her about that and then we'll come back to you in just a minute.
I'm back.
Okay. Um, if you want to, just tell us a little bit about When Angels Fly.
That is my freshman book, and got a. You can see it here, the cover. I'm turning it so that it doesn't have glare. When Angels Fly, and this has been a multi. Okay, let me download. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, I made it full
It's
screen so
also
everybody
right
could see
behind
it.
me.
Right.
Right. Okay, so this it's my freshman book, and when I had to give up nursing, that was really hard. Okay, that was tough. And it was in 2015 I decided to take all these journals that I had written when my youngest son was sick and to put them into digital format, and from there it actually became a book. So my freshman book, and everything, false names, false places, got to do everything that a person has to do to prevent libels. All of that was done. But it is really a multi-award-winning book, and it does help. It's not all sad and that kind of thing. There's cancer, obviously, and a battle, but it also helps parents. It helps them to pick their battles when they're in the hospital setting with their child, because you don't want to pick on every little thing. If an antibiotic is hung 30 minutes, 45 minutes late, it's not a big deal. It's not life threatening. If your child doesn't get pain medicine within 30 minutes, then that's more important. And so I try to help others with knowing when to advocate for their child and how to advocate for their child, and when not to worry about it, because you don't know what's happening on the unit. You don't know what they've been doing, what's been happening. And so things happen. And so, like I said, if an antibiotic or something is late, it's not a big deal. If it's a pain issue, then that's something you want to have rectified as soon as you can. So I try to do teaching to parents so that they can help their own children or grandchildren more effectively, and because if you pick on a lot of stuff, you make the staff not want to take care of you. They don't want to take care of your child, and that's not a good thing. So it's not a good relationship.
Right.
So that's a big thing.
Yeah, you kind of have to focus on just, the major things and not make them too angry. So
And you
that,
let some things slide because it's not worth it. Now, for me, granted, I was there 24/7, and I did most of my son's cares. I didn't do his chemo, but I would do his TPN and some of his other things. So being in a teaching hospital, and especially as a mother with a child who has a central line placed in their chest, and knowing that you have to go home and be able to take care of them at home and be able to feed them nutrition and everything through that line, through the IV, and having to do all this at yourself at home. See, it made that a piece of cake. Learning
yeah,
how to do everything there at the hospital really helped. And I'm not the only parent that had to do that. For me, it was easier because I was already in the medical field, but for others, it's not as easy. But it was something that I was easily able to do. So it's something that's very important for parents. They need to be able to participate in their child's care.
right. Yeah, I like that around here. We have a teaching hospital too, although now that COVID has hit, we have to travel, way away sometimes to get seen and stuff. It's crazy, but
COVID has really messed a lot of things up. So it's not as easy to see people. Fortunately for us, things have been not as bad as what they've been for other people that I know, and especially in other places in the world. But we've been able to do some telehealth visits, and that helps a lot. And some of the doctors are really they like doing that, especially since I am a registered nurse, and they know that if there's something that they forget to say or ask or something on the phone, doing the telehealth, that I can finish that up. And so that's been a huge benefit.
right. Yeah, we were able to do a lot of telehealth. Thank goodness none of us in my house yet have caught COVID, so I'm very thankful for that. We had a few scares, but um, nothing
COVID's
yet.
terrible. It's terrible. It almost killed me.
Yeah, I've heard that it was really bad for quite a few people.
I'm still on the long haul. My husband was able to recover easier, but I don't have all the lung capacity and everything like he does, because I don't have all of my lungs. I had typical carcinoid cancer. And so when COVID hit, I was already down lung capacity. So that
Right.
made it worse. But, there's other people. I've got to, well, there's other places in the world that don't have access to healthcare the way that we have it in the United States.
Yeah, we're lucky that we have what we
We are.
have here.
We
Yes,
are.
very
If we
much.
had national health system, I know people who are on waiting lists for up to a year before they can have even a sonogram done, unless they end up in the ER. So I think that we're fortunate to be in the United States. And I think we're fortunate to be here, period.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm very thankful that my daughter was able to be seen, and that her surgery went well, and I'm hoping that the biopsy is all clear and all that good stuff. So yeah, we have amazing health care here in the U.S. I mean,
We do.
it, even though sometimes it can be a little frustrating, it's still a lot better than other countries have. So
It is. It's better. And sometimes, you have to put that into your head that not having to wait for whatever, or you don't have to travel 6 hours to see the doctor that you need to see, and those kinds of things. And we have, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can complain about, but we do have the best healthcare system, I think.
yeah, it's easy, I think, in my opinion, to complain about things, but when you look around and you see, these other places, it's also, for me anyway, to easy to be thankful for what we do have instead of, focusing on what we can't do. I try to focus on what is and what we can provide. And a lot of people don't have that. So we were very blessed, in my opinion.
We are. That's, we both believe that. We are. I don't want to say anything about other countries and their systems because that's not really nice to do, but I have, I know people who are struggling overseas. What's your next question, Tara?
Sorry about that. My computer froze up
Your computer froze. Oh, well,
for a
yeah, but
second. I was like, what was going on?
that's okay because you're editing all of this,
Yeah.
so, which is nice.
Yeah.
So all
Um,
the and this and that will be gone. You didn't
yeah.
ask us what our favorite animal was.
Yeah. What is your favorite animal?
What is that favorite animal?
Squirrel.
A squirrel? Is that what you said?
Yes.
And do you have a squirrel?
No, we
What
just
kind of pets do you
they
have?
live all over in our backyard.
Oh,
So
They're wild.
yeah, they're all wild, but we feed them and take care of them, and
We write about them.
yeah.
that's uh, that's what inspired everything that brought us to where we're at kind of today. It's um, with the Shadow and Friend books, with all the squirrel series. So yeah,
So is that what inspired the? That's pretty awesome. I was gonna ask that. What inspired you guys to write? Um, let's see. Do you guys have a favorite snack while you're writing, or do you don't snack while you're writing? Is there like a particular thing you do to get in the headspace to write?
no, we don't. I guess to come up with an idea on stuff is it'll just come into one of our. It'll come up as a thought, and we'll discuss it when we're on our journeys. Um, from here to there, it's like we'll discuss a topic like we did on our squirrel books about putting them in this adventure, and then we just talk it out, and then we start laying out the groundwork for it. So, and then just go through it back and forth till we complete the whole book. So their journey. So
Yeah. Do you guys have a certain word count that you try to complete in a certain amount of time, or you just let it come as.
we pretty much just write this write the story, and if we need to add or shorten it or whatever, we work on that after we have the pretty much the whole storyline out and see how we can change it, modify it to make more. But yeah, just said it's 24
It's
pages.
24 pages, one paragraph per page, and then we just did illustrating.
Right. Well, what's the first book that you ever read, if you remember it, and what made you have an interest in reading? Was it that book, or have you always liked reading?
I When I was in first grade, we could check out books in the little school that I was in, and my favorite book was a book called The Little House, and I probably checked it out at least a half a dozen times in my first and second grade, just because I liked that book so much. So I would say that little children's book inspired me to read and stuff like that. So it's hard to believe I can remember the name of the book that far back, but I can.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I think that first book that inspires you to write or to read or whatever, it always kind of sticks with you.
Yes.
How about Mary? What was the first book she read?
Okay. What's that, Tara?
The first book that you ever read that inspired you to like to read or inspired you to write?
Well, actually, that was in school, and that was the Dick and Jane books, the early primers, when you start in first grade. When I first actually checked out a book, I think it was called Little Black Sambo, and I don't remember the entire story, but I know I checked it out a whole lot. And I do mean a lot. I checked it out a lot of times. But it was a kid, and he was running and getting away from a tiger of some sort, and they ended up with a bunch of honey. And I don't really remember the story, but it was called Little Black Sambo, and I just thought the story was the cutest thing. And then when I got a little bit older, then I was all every single Nancy Drew book there was, and some of them were read more than once, and all the Sherry Ames, and some of the Hardy Boys, and all the Laura Ingalls Wilder book, all of those, and then I grew into more adult books. But a lot of detective, a lot of some that was nursing, a lot of I've wanted to be a nurse since I was a kid. Okay, um, just this is an aside from that. I liked watching the Julia TV show. I don't know if you know that TV show, but Diane Carroll played a nurse, and I just thought it was the most awesome thing. So my thing was, when I graduate high school, I'm going to either one, be a legal secretary, because that way I could be working with lawyers and seeing how some of these mysteries and different things come out, when you think Nancy Drew, or I'm going to be a nurse, and I'm going to help people, and I'm going to make a difference. Well, nursing won out.
That's kind of the same thing I wanted to do. I wanted to be a nurse, or I wanted to write, and nursing went out, but I didn't go as far as you. I didn't become an RN, but I did get my LPN license, and I did that for a while until my first child was born, and she had a lot of issues with autism and her developmental disabilities. And where I live, we don't have a whole lot of resources and that kind of thing. So we did try to send her to mainstream school, but it ended up uh, not working out. So I ended up having to quit nursing to be at home with her. So then I got more into the book world. So it kind of worked out.
That was what you needed to do. I firmly believe that where we are in our individual places right now, where we are is where we're meant to be, and where we're going, He'll, well, I believe in Jesus, so, I believe that we're where we are meant to be right now, and where we are going is where we are meant to go, whatever that is. It's all in the plan. And the hardships, whether it's their childhood hardships or, losing your children, having a child who has autism, all these different things, they are there to help us grow as a person and to help us with taking care of others and just being caring and nice and helping other people. I think that is what I want to say. I think
I,
that we are where we're supposed to be,
I agree.
where God
Uh,
wants us to be.
Yeah, I think it's all in His plan, and you're right. Having an autistic child, actually two of them, they've taught me more than I could have ever taught them about love and caring, and you know that type of thing,
And
how
you
to
can
be
help others.
patient.
You can help others with all that knowledge that you have. You
Right?
can help
Yeah,
new parents. You can help them.
yeah. I
And
love doing like the autism speaks, those kind of things. Like to be an advocate for that kind of thing. And I had, when my daughter did go to occupational therapy, I was able to help other parents with that kind of stuff too. And that's very rewarding, being able to be there for them, knowing that, hey, I've been in their shoes when my child couldn't talk, and knowing that feeling of feeling helpless, not being able to help them, but now I can help other people realize that it might not always be that way. It can change, they
it
can
can.
learn.
Yes. Things do change and everything changes. If it didn't change, we wouldn't be growing anywhere. But there's so much that we don't even, I don't think there are things that you don't realize and I don't realize, Mike doesn't realize that we're helping other people. Just, we don't realize we're actually doing that. It just happens in normal conversation and everything that a person does, or, any contact that you have, even the phone or speaking to the audience right now. They're hearing these things, and we're actually helping the listeners out there right now
Right.
with
And
just,
you've actually helped me, with medical stuff. Like, I know a little bit from being an LPN, but I've been able to come to you and say, hey, you know, what do you think about this? Or, and you've actually helped me with that. So I really appreciate you doing that too.
you're welcome, Tara. I will help you anytime. You have, your kids are special and they have special needs. And if there's anything that I can help you with, I'll do that. That is, I do that for anybody and everybody, but I'll do that. And I have, and if something's not getting done soon enough, I'll get upset right with you. And then I'll say, okay, now let's take a step back. Let's take a count to 10, and then we'll restart this, but sometimes you have to let that little anger out. If something's been put off and you don't like how it's being put off for too long, And I know that you just had that with your daughter, and I really didn't like that either. But
Yeah, I could feel your frustration too through the message. I was like, yeah, she's frustrated too that this is happening because
because I know that had it been me, I would have done a thin needle aspiration just like that. I would have done that using a
right,
sauna. I would have done that, and it would not have caused any problems. I would have just done that period and
right,
already been ahead of the game. But that's me speaking from a nursing perspective of
right.
a nurse who's been highly educated, not with just an associate degree, but with a bachelor's degree plus additional training in other areas, as well as working in large hospitals around the US during my travel nursing career. So I've seen a lot, done a lot. And
Yes,
so,
that
yeah, that's what I wanted to do. That I was like, I wish I had the setup and I'd just go to your house and do that. That's what I thought. And
yeah. Well, I'm glad that everything went well with that.
I am
So
too. I'm glad.
um, I forgot. Oh, okay, sorry. My daughter was hollering. Her dad's got her. Um, so is your next story that's a follow-up story about your son, right? Sammy Hero at age 5.
Sammy here at age 5. It's different, but it's the same. It's the same book. I don't think it's up here. It's not the same book. It's a shorter book for that matter, and it has a lot of funny bits and pieces in it. They're not very long chapters. They're written from the point of view of a 5-year-old, so there is really only one word that is more than 2 syllables. One word, which is rhabdomyosarcoma, which is the type of cancer he had. But in it, it's memories of when he was little and the little shenanigans that him and his brother did. And so it's funny in a lot of places, and it's written for children. It's written for kids. So kids from age 7 up to 15 or 16 could read it. And it would help teenagers in understanding if they have a sibling who's going through um, a lengthy illness of some kind, and it helps bring laughter to it so that kids aren't scared. And it helps from a children's point of view. It helps from that point of view, and that is not easy to write from.
Right.
But my son had a lot of memories, and it came about. It worked.
My daughter enjoyed it. She liked. She didn't quite understand all the stuff, and I helped her do some research. The bigger terms, of the cancers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, she really liked the funny bits of it and stuff.
They was trying to make that a mixture so that the young children and older kids both could read and relate and have a laugh and, you know, read how he became a hero and the shenanigans he did.
Yeah, sounds like he had a pretty active life, in the first few years there.
Oh, he did. It was great. It was aggravating sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But I look back on it with all the different things and I can laugh, but it's sweet. Sweet memories.
And by the way, I'm very sorry for your loss. That had to be a very trying time for you.
Thank you. It gets it does get difficult. You would think maybe, I mean, because he died in 1990. So, coming up on October 15th, that'll be the anniversary of when he passed away.
Yeah, that
So
that
that's always
has
tough.
that has to be very hard, and I'm sorry for that.
Hey, but some other books came out of that because I wrote a sequel to When Angels Fly titled Her Heart. You can see the cover. I don't know if you have one of those or not. I did write a sequel. This one's pretty much from me. It's finding love after you have a bad experience with first marriage and being able to find love, and which I did with my husband.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you. We just had our 30th anniversary in July. But the sequel is to help.
Let me get it up here.
It's for the hope because there's hope. You can get out of a bad relationship and you can get into another one. I made the setting for Colorado, and I put my husband in as a doctor and everything. We don't have our real names used, but that's what I did, and it worked. So it's a short story. It's a 2-hour read, and I set it in Colorado because we love Colorado, but it all happened in Kansas.
Right.
And more recently, the newest release has been the prequel to When Angels Fly, and that is Her Alibi.
Yeah, that's I think I got that in the slideshow on down there. That's your newest release, right? When did it? I forget. Jog my memory. When did it release?
A month ago.
A month ago. Right.
And in that one, I didn't hide anything. Everything is real, true,
So that's the entirety of it is a true story.
all of it. And I left a lot out. But it was a story that needed to be told. It was a story about this man needed validation on what happened. And to be, it needed to be done. And I finally did it. So
Congratulations on the courage to get to write that. That had to be hard to write.
it was very difficult. And thank you very much. That book hit number one in less than 24 hours, and it's still in double digits, in the low double digits, in more than one category. So there's a lot of psychology and forensics involved, and
Right.
it's different psychologically speaking.
Hmm.
I didn't put everything in it that I could have, but you can see where a person can get so messed up in their head. It's just amazing. It's scary, actually. When I think about it, it's scary that to find out a lot of things after the fact, having lived with the person. It's like think both. I don't know. You've probably heard of BTK,
Yes.
Find, Torture, Kill,
Hmm.
and he lived down in Park City, and of course nobody knew that. And he was with a church, and he was married, and he looked like any nice guy, going around and all this stuff. And lo and behold, then it comes out. He's finally caught in the end.
Yeah, it's
Well, this
very
is a different
scary.
thing, though. This is, for me, for this is, my mother had a lot of psychological issues going on. And Whether she shot my stepfather or not, she drove him to it. However, I have to say, on all honesty, if somebody is going to take a gun and they're going to kill themselves, they're going to shoot themselves in the head. Okay, they always put it in. They shoot the head, they shoot in the mouth. You don't shoot yourself in the stomach, especially if you work on with the police. With the sheriff's department part time. If someone is really wanting to shoot themselves, it's going to be in the head,
Yeah.
not the stomach. But since that's not what killed him, she got away with it. And I have no problem with saying that, yeah, I completely, totally believe that she did do it. And so do other siblings.
Mm.
So that book is true. And the man in it, my stepfather, has received validation that his life was important, that his life was worth it, it was worthy, and that his three sons were cheated of having their father for a longer period of time.
Yes.
So for somebody who wants to get into something that's really serious psychologically, trying to figure all this different stuff out that I wrote, someone who wants to get into that, it's a good book for that.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And my daughter didn't quite understand all of it, of course, but she did enjoy reading it. But she enjoys reading a lot of anything. So maybe when she's, a little bit older, she may understand it a little bit more. Um,
Sometimes when I was writing it, it was really kind of frightening to me because it was hitting me. The full impact of everything was finally hitting me, if
hmm
that makes sense.
hmm
But then I knew, okay, she's gone. She's been gone since November of 2012. So I knew she wasn't going to come get me. She couldn't do anything.
Right. And
But it was kind of frightening to write it.
yeah, and I specialized in psych nursing and actually worked at a mental hospital. So I know that sometimes when you're writing about those things or you're, working through, you know, repressed memories or anything like that, that sometimes you're still have that anxiety or that fear of the person, even if they're not there, or they can no longer hurt you. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we can move on if you want.
Okay.
Our newest children's book is a really fun book. I don't know if you have that slide. This one's Tommy Turtle.
Yeah, I have it.
You have that one too?
Yeah. Um, let's see. I went to the wrong one, the wrong slide. Hold on just a second.
Oh, you have a bunch up there.
Yeah, I kind of put them all in there. So if there was anyone that you wanted to talk about, we could go
Tommy
through it.
Turtle. I really like the Tommy Turtle book, especially right now, because school has started, and Tommy, he's shy, and there's a lot of shy children, who just started preschool or started a new school or went from preschool to a kindergarten. And those were all early books there, and you're going there.
Yeah, I think it's on slide 10. I'll get it up there.
That's okay. Oh, there he is,
There
Tommy
you go.
Turtle. So he's a shy turtle, but somebody else, another turtle, helps him to come out of his shell and to play and to be involved with the other children and not be so shy. And it also explains to kids that it's okay to be shy, but it's also you can help. You can also, like Tommy did in the book, towards the end, he said that he was going to help other turtles that were shy and afraid to come out of their shell for very long with other kids. He was going to do the same thing that had happened to him because he'd been helped. And I think that that's something that's important, and it's very relevant with school having started and everything. I think it's relevant actually all year, but especially with school.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very important to teach your kids that everybody's unique in their own way, and it's important to accept people, and if they're shy, to try to help them as much as you possibly can, understand each other's differences, and just love one another, and not show as much hate. The kindness and the love will get you further than anything else.
Yes, it will. Do you want to talk a little bit about Davy Dragon? Hmm? Oh, okay. Well, Mike brings up Davy Dragon, Davy's Dragon Castle,
Okay.
which is he's a dragon and he has this castle above Dragon Town. And it's a special castle. Everybody that lives in Dragon Town, they all work at the castle. And they can stay at the castle or in the town, doesn't matter. And the whole thing is it's a secret place, and only people who know how to get there or who have been there or live there can get there. And what is really nice is, well, the graphics they're really explanatory, but the story goes into, it's a Christmas themed one. Christmas is coming up. Davy has a Christmas party for all of Dragontown every year, and then he has others who have been invited that don't know where Dragontown is, and I'm getting to a point there. Here, I am getting to a point on that too. One of the things that happens is that teaches kids, one of the dragons, one of the tiny dragons has a prosthetic leg. Okay, and it teaches kids that a prosthetic leg, arm, or whatever is not a hindrance, that children can run, or in this case, dragons can fly and do things still, and other kids can too. Sure, you might not be able to hold a baseball bat, but you can still do a lot of things. So it focuses on things that a person can do with having a prosthetic limb. And then the other thing that it focuses on is it doesn't matter the color of your skin, or it takes on a racism. And as much as there's a bunny rabbit family that comes to knock on the castle, and they had been invited by Davy. And what happens in the story is there's a little girl who says they can't come in because they're not part of the Dragon Town. And Davy comes to the door and he doesn't yell at her or anything. He says, "That's okay, Susie," or whoever, whatever her name is, I don't remember. "I have invited these bears in. They are fun bears, and we don't turn away anybody, no matter the color of their skin or what they believe in." And so it tackles racism, and it tackles it in a positive manner. And I think that's two big things right there in one book,
Yeah, it's
which is
very.
probably why that book stayed in the top 10 for as long as it did, because it was so, because of the disabilities and the racism issues. And I
Wow.
think that that's so important. And these, both of these books, all the kids' books, they're appropriate for, if your child is 3 years old, they're not going to understand as much, but they can have 3 years. I would say on the high side, Some 12-year-olds might find it interesting, but probably more likely 10 for the high side, age-wise.
Yeah. Kaylin and Bryson, my son, actually liked both of Tommy Turtle and Davy's Castle. They both read them, and they're both teenagers, and they enjoyed them. So,
They did. What
yeah.
about the unicorn book? Unicorn
Um,
Dreams? I
yeah,
see you have it up on the screen.
yeah. I think Kaylin read it, but I'm not sure if Bryson's read it yet. But she liked it.
It's more fantasy all the way. It's
Right.
you can anything is possible in Unicorn Dreams. Basically, it's telling children, look at all these things that these unicorns can do. They can toss soap bubbles and not pop them with with their unicorn horns and different things, and anything is possible in unicorn land, unicorn dreams. And unicorns are a big thing, and a lot of kids like them, especially little girls. And it's nice because sometimes there are kids that sleep with stuffed unicorns and things, and it just tells them, it lets them know that they can think about unicorns, and that if they try hard enough, they might have a unicorn dream too, and it can be a lot of fun and adventuresome, and anything can happen. All good, nothing bad. It's all good.
Yeah.
It
Kaylin
teaches
loves.
them that it's okay to it's essential for kids to work with their brains to help them in how to do make believe. And that helps children develop socially.
Yes, and that's a big thing with autistic children. They have sometimes a really hard time with make believe, playing pretend, because it's a lot of they're very literal about a lot of things. So yeah, Kaylin really enjoyed any kind of fantasy because it lets her, you know, believe and make believe and not be so literal all the time. So what would you say your guys' unique quirk in writing would be?
A unique quirk. Um, well, I'm not a plotter. I mean, I don't need to plot. The adult books came out simply because, they were already there in my head. So I don't plot. I get a beginning, and I know what I want to have happen in a children's book, and I know how I want it to end, and then we between us we come up with 24 different pages for just one paragraph on each page. So 24 different paragraphs to tell the story and to get everything across. And once that's done, one thing I do that maybe not others do is I make my covers first. I make my front cover because that inspires me for the rest of the book, for the rest of the galley on how to do the illustrations.
Mm,
So, and if you look at and I've made all of my own covers, so I
yeah,
do
I
all of
love
that.
your covers.
Thank you.
And I usually when I was publishing my books, I usually did my covers first too. It seemed to make me, more inspired of the story. Graphics, help me better. I learn better visually, so I think that's why it inspired me. Would you say that's why it inspired you too?
The covers are very inspirational for bringing the story out and just having, well, like Tommy, they're just having Tommy and looking at him and seeing his smile. It just helped with refining the paragraphs to the story. Um, like I might change the wording on one of the pages to something else that actually fits better. So that happens, and that happened with Davy Dragon. That's happened with every book for the kids. That's happened with all of them. having that cover and seeing that actually helped trigger other thoughts on how to edit a little bit of the story and have it be better.
Right. So, are you guys only indie published or are you traditionally published as
I have
well?
two books that are traditionally, we have two of them that are traditionally published, and the rest of them have been published through our own publishing company, M. Schmidt Productions, which M. Schmidt Productions covers, is a big umbrella term, company wise, because it covers a lot of things. It covers the books, of course, it covers the art. I have an online art gallery. It covers a myriad bunch of sub, I like to say sub businesses, side things, and that kind of thing. So it's a, the company covers everything that we do with books and with artwork and whatever we want to do. The online art gallery probably has right now about 1,100 different pieces of art. Some have been traditionally painted, others have not. Some are photography, others are not. It just depends on what people are looking at. So, but it's a fairly, it's pretty good. I get people seeing, going to it every day, which is kind of cool. I
Yeah,
like that.
I love your gallery.
You've been there?
Yeah, I've
Thank
looked
you.
at it, and I used to. I think didn't we do like a giveaway where they would tell us which one was their favorite one, and you gave a few away too.
We did, and we can do that too. People can
Okay,
go and check it out. That can be part of the giveaway. I'm fine with that. And as well as I have like mouse pads. Let me move this.
okay, there you go. I got it.
Like this one.
Yeah, I've got. I think I've got one like that you sent me to.
Okay. Well, so there are things that I can give away, and people can go to the art gallery, and if they go and they sign up or they do the different things, then they can go and they can choose a piece of artwork or something, and they'll receive it for free.
Okay, I'll add that in the comment section of the YouTube and see once we get the responses, we'll um, choose them randomly.
Yes, randomly, and I have all kinds of author swag to give out, little buttons and just all kinds of stuff. So I have a lot of things. I need to give them
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I like a lot of your swag. So you can buy your books on Amazon.
They can be bought anywhere. People can buy them from Walmart. They can buy them from any online store. They can buy them from actually Waterstones in England. They're actually being carried. One of them is being carried at Waterstones now, which was something that was a whole new different thing for me to get involved with. And this is something new that my husband is just now finding out about because I forgot to tell him. Sorry, Mike. But we have a physical book that's being carried in Waterstones, which is in England, which is the equivalent of Barnes and Noble here. So
Oh, congratulations! That's awesome.
thank you. And then there's a bookstore, and with two, well, it's got two different other extra outlets, but it's called Tattered Cover out in Denver, Colorado, Tattered Cover, and they have physical books on hand too.
Okay.
Especially they have like 20 copies of When Angels Fly. Maybe they have 30. I don't really know off the top of my head how many there are. And if anybody's driving through the middle of Kansas and they're on I-70, and if they get very close to the Wilson exit, there is Kansas Originals place, and it just that carries things. They carry things from people in Kansas. So if it's somebody that's written a book, or they pickle certain types of foods, or they're artistic in some way, just different ways, we have shelves because we have that many. So, and I will say that the physical book is cheaper at Wilson Originals than it is online. And it's also cheaper if they buy from me as well,
Right. Do you have
direct.
a Google sign up sheet or
No, what people can do is they can just go to whenangelsfly.net and click the contact page and send me an email. And plus, there's
okay.
all the links are on there too. All the links to all of the books, and the links to the YouTube, Pinterest, art gallery, you name it, it's all there. So it's really easy. I just tell people, go to whenangelsfly.net. And if you have any questions, just click on the contact link and it'll send me an email and I'll
Okay.
help them out.
All right. And I will pin that in the comment section too. So they'll have all your links so they can go and look at all of that stuff.
Yeah, from whenangelsfly.net, they can get to everything. So only one
Okay.
link will get them everywhere.
All right. Let's see here. For this question is for both of you guys. What was your favorite book to write and why? And what inspired it?
Let me put this back to Mike so he can answer some stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I was asking what was your favorite book to write and why and what inspired it?
I don't really have a particular book, but when we were working on the Shadow and Friends series, those were my favorite to do because um, I really enjoy the squirrels and see their playfulness, their antics, and all the stuff that they do in the backyard. And I just felt really inspired by them. They're very creative and they're really smart. They're just most people just take them for granted, but actually they're quite enjoyable, and it made it. And then I just was always looking forward to the next book, to the next adventure, because I felt like I was on the adventure with them. And when Mary and I were writing these books, um, we wanted to write them so that the children could get drawn in and be part of their adventure. So um, those are the books that I enjoyed the most because the squirrels, the stories, all they were. I just enjoyed them more. They were closer to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, Mary just reminded me, uh, the squirrels that are out here in our backyard. We have the little miniature picnic tables with, we put nuts and stuff in them, and we have stuff for them to jump around on in the backyard, and so taking pictures of them and stuff like that. So it's very calming. It's comical some days. Got the windows curtains all the way open, and you may have a dozen of them all just running around in the backyard, and life just seems so fun and casual to them. It's a good stress relief. So
And they'll jump up on the ledge of the
yeah,
forest.
we have tall windows that go clear to the floor, and they'll jump up on the ledge and they'll look in at us and stuff like that. Sometimes begging for more walnuts. So
They got that down.
I'm assuming that gives you a lot of ideas on the animation too. That
yes, it does.
That
So
would be awesome. We live in an apartment complex. We don't get to see a whole lot of like nature because, we got a lot of kids around and, when they're outside running around and screaming, not a lot of squirrels want to stay around or
Yeah.
birds or anything for that matter.
Yes, I understand that they're they get spooked pretty easy. So
Um, I think I'm not sure if I asked you guys this yet or not, but writing, is it your full time jobs now, or do you still have a full time job? I know that Mary was a nurse. Um, how about you?
I still have a full time job. I'm close to retirement, but this is what Mary works on every day. This is her full time job. Um, uh, it'll be mine too in a short period of time. So so a lot of times, even before I go to work or like I say down the road, we'll discuss topics and stuff on the books or what's going on next or you know where how it's doing here or what how we're going to promote it the next time or what's next.
Right. Do you like what you do at your full time job, or would you rather be a full time writer?
Well, the writing part's a lot more fun, but I've had a long career in what I've done, so I'm just going to ride it out and finish it. Like I say, it's only a short period of time, so
Right. Um, for both of you, is your family supportive of your writing? And if so, who's your biggest supporter? Is that your kids or each other?
yeah, our children have always supported our books, and our grandchildren have read them and stuff like that. So yes, we do get family support on this. So
How many grandchildren do you guys have?
we have two.
Two?
Yes.
I bet I bet they really do enjoy the books. Okay, for both of you, who is your favorite author and why? What made them your favorite author?
She wants to know who her favorite author is.
that's hard to say.
It is hard to say. So, but there's several out there. Um, we do like Stephen King because he is an excellent writer and he keeps you riveted through his story all the way to the end. So,
Yeah, I really like Stephen King. Edgar Allan Poe. One of my favorites is J.K. Um, of course, I was a teenager and late teens when those came out, so that those were very popular with me. Um, so, but yeah, Stephen King, I really do enjoy his books. Have you guys actually watched his son's series on Netflix? I've read the comic book too, but they have the series Lock and Key.
we have not had a chance to watch that one yet. So, there's a lot of stuff streaming keeps you busy plus everything else. So,
Right. I think you guys would enjoy it because it's kind of like a more of a child thing, and it's over now, so you'll be able to binge watch it if you want.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, so you don't have to wait on the next episode coming out.
Yes. That
Um,
does spoil you nowadays.
oh yeah. What was one surprising thing that you learned while writing, if any?
Well, it wasn't something that I think either one of us really had planned on doing. It just it happened, and and we grew into this being authors as time went along. So um, I had to pretty much learn it from the ground up because yeah, we've yeah, we've gone to award shows. It's the we never would have expected any of this. It was working on that memoir, and then everything else just has all just rolled out. I mean,
The
uh,
book on bullies came after that.
so yeah, we had a book on bullies that came out after that. So
And then
we-
Good Touch, Bad Touch.
so we've we've uh, we've we mainly have written mostly in the children's thing. Mary works more in the memoir kind of stuff. So, but just about the time you think that you might not have a topic, another one just pops up. So we don't really get a idea block. It just seems to come to us like we finish it, and then another topic will just automatically comes to us. So
I have a list.
yeah, Mary said she has a list. So
How many awards have you guys won?
what's that?
How many awards have you guys won?
I don't know for sure. How many awards have we won?
Oh, there's no way to know that. Okay, honestly, there's no way to know that.
Mm.
We've been to Miami 3 years in a row on stage receiving medals for different books, but awards, I could not even begin to guess. I can't. We have certificates that are framed. We have some that are waiting framing. We have all medal. We have a lot of medals. We have a green apple, a glass apple. We have a
And,
lot,
and we
and
cherish them all. It's great when they
amazing.
come in.
It's amazing.
Congratulations on all those.
Thank you.
Um, do you have a favorite character that you wrote about, or are they all your favorite characters?
Like I say, I'm partial to the squirrels, but when you actually get into the story, you really dive into that character. So I really can't put a one character's more favorite of a favorite than others. So
Yes, there is. Stubby.
yes,
He's the star of the show.
my yes, Mary just reminded me. Stubby is the squirrel. He's in the Shadow and Friends series because he has a short tail, is how he got his name, and he's the one that inspired us to actually start writing the books about squirrels.
So
Because
he had no.
yeah, he had no fear.
He
He would
watched what's on television.
so
He watched television.
So he had no fear.
no, he'd come right up, look at you. He didn't spook very easy. He wasn't that timid. If he did run off of our patio, he'd just run out a few feet and look at you, like, what did you want, or why did you bother me, or he just yeah. So
How many books have you guys written together,
ooh,
or period?
probably around 30.
So that's three anthologies.
Yes. So
Wow, that's amazing. Were any of the characters that you wrote about in, well, I know that in the memoirs, your son inspired them, but in your children's series, were there any characters that were inspired by any family members? And if so, who?
uh, no, I wouldn't say that it was family members that inspired the characters in it. It's just people that you've run through in life. They seem to take on the personality, because they were mostly squirrels or dogs or other things like that. And, you know, each animal has its own personality, just like people do. And you kind of just, that fits with when you're working on their character, it just fits naturally, if that makes, it works that way. So, If you got, you have the animals, and you have the outgoing ones. You got the ornery ones too. So um,
Right.
I wouldn't say it's family. It's just you they project a personality and you put it on them, and use that as their character. So
Right. More just life stuff.
yeah.
When readers contact you, what reviews or compliments do they give you? And what criticisms do they give you? So that's kind of a two-part question, if
Well,
any.
I see some of it, but that's mostly a Mary question because she works in the business day in and day out. So I'll pass that over so she can answer that question.
What was your question, Tara?
I, I said, when your readers contact you, what reviews or compliments do they give you, or what criticisms do they give you, if any? So that's kind of like a two-part question.
Okay, well, I can tell you right off the bat on When Angels Fly, I had one person write a review, a sibling who was jealous, and she wrote misleading or whatever and not worth your money, don't buy it, and gave it 1 star. And then I had another person, and I, I don't know this person, but it too was on When Angels Fly, and she gave a 1 star and she wrote sob story. And that's all she wrote. And so she totally missed the entire reason for the book. She missed it. She missed helping
Mm.
parents, helping children, helping others. She missed everything. So that bothered me a little bit. But then after a while, it didn't, because I realized that she didn't, she missed the entire concept. She missed it all. And there's nothing I can do about that. And honestly, if you have, and so I have 2 1-star reviews. I don't have that on any other book, but I do on the freshman book on When Angels Fly. And I've come to realize, in one of the cases, the person, my sibling, actually was jealous, and that I had written a book that was a multi-award winning best-selling book that hit #1 and stayed #1 for a long time. There was jealousy. I've had some readers who, what they do is they ask me questions about publishing and how you get started and what you do, and there's so much involved with that. And you don't just you don't just write something and draw some illustrations out and then think you're going to find somebody to represent you, because it doesn't work. That's not that easy. And I have people, and that's what they do. They want to know how they can do it. They want to know how they can do what we have done. And I can help them out to a certain extent, but they also have to be willing to do the work. They have to be willing to do the work, because it is work. It is a lot of work. I spend a lot of time on Twitter every day, and our brand is going really well. And you do so much for me on Facebook, and Samantha, she does a lot on Instagram, and Mike knows that you're my administrative assistants, you two ladies, and I'm very thankful for that and grateful for that,
Thank you. I
because I
enjoy
could
it.
not get everything done. I could not do that. I could not do everything. I can't. Twitter alone, I do so much on Twitter, and actually, I have a lot of people buy books from Twitter, from conversations, things like get involved in, talking to people. And, usually that's, more for branding, but I actually get a lot of sales. And I pick up books to read too. So it works. And I'm on it myself about 3 hours every day. So there's a lot. there's a lot going on. There's a lot to do. And again, you doing Facebook and Samantha doing Instagram has been such a help. You've been very, very helpful. And sometimes I get really bogged down because I end up with a lot of commissions. Sometimes I've had commissions for artworks. I've had commissions for animations. I receive a lot of commissions, period. And so I'm busy all the time, every day.
Right. Yeah, it takes a lot of work. And that's why I kind of, Facebook, it keeps changing algorithms and things. So I thought, it would be pretty cool to try to start something to where we could do author interviews, and my friend Becky is helping me out with it some, because I don't have double screen yet. So she's the one that, is working the slideshow for me. Or trying. We're still learning, but yeah, I thought that it would help out, being on YouTube too. And I've noticed that there's been a pickup in sales and like TikTok and some things like that too. So yeah, I
I
know
tried
it's
TikTok and it didn't like me. So, if you like TikTok, go for it. Go for it.
um I, I found that if you find the popular music, like I know with especially, which wouldn't pertain to you, but like the romance and MC and stuff like that, is if you find like the music, and of course they have the hot covers and stuff, it attracts a lot of attention. But I also found that if you have like children's stories, if you use the filters, like they have dragon filters and stuff like that, that attracts a lot of attention too. So I may try to do some of that stuff too. Of course, once Kaylin's better and all that's, you know, out of the way, so I have a little extra time.
A couple of times I posted on TikTok and I had my videos were reported, unfortunately. And
Oh
it
no.
was just because of the background music that was used.
Oh,
Got in
I
trouble for
wonder,
that.
was it like copyrighted, or is that what
Yeah,
they
it must
said?
have been copyrighted and it was just music. It wasn't any words, it was just music. And it was just
Mm.
little, like a 12-second bit of a music. And yeah, and I got it online and I got in trouble for it. And that
Um,
copywriting is a big deal. And I should have realized that for many years, a long time ago, decades ago, we DJ'd on the side. And so we had to be careful. I mean, we knew the copyright thing going on. And then more recently, such as in 2016, I had a book, Susie Has a Secret. That book was stolen, flat out stolen. The name of it,
oh
the
no.
entire synopsis, and the story was stolen. And that's when I learned the hard way that you need to get a copyright on everything. And every book is copyrighted now. But it gave me a bad experience because it got to the point where I could no longer do anything on KDP. I couldn't do that. So I had to move to a different platform. So now I'm at Ingram Spark.
Oh,
And so all of our books go to Ingram Spark. And that's not the cheapest thing to do, but that's where everything is published from, Ingram Spark and through M. Schmidt Productions. So that gave us our own publishing company, Umbrella, and we learned a valuable lesson because the entire book was stolen. But it was also a book that took a silver medal down in Miami. So, we walked the stage for that. So, and I've had, oh no, it gets so tiring, but I get so many phone calls and mostly phone calls, and I block the numbers, but it's people who want to take a story such as Shadow and Friends costume party. It did really pretty good. And so they want to promote it for us, that kind of scam stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And Mike doesn't really, he doesn't have, he doesn't get that like I do. I'm the one that gets subjected to that every day. And it does get tiring. It does.
Yeah, the first book that I wrote, it's on Amazon for free now, but it got stolen as well and put up on a free site to read, and it was a big headache. So when I did the anthology for autism, all the proceeds went to Autism Speaks. I actually bought the copyright like you do, and
I file with in Washington D.C. I file every book. It's copyrighted. We have a folder with lots of copyrights in it.
I was gonna mention, if you are looking for music, I've not gotten in trouble as of yet, and I use a lot of music from Pixabay. They have music that you can use. I sometimes use it, like if I do Mega Mondays when I put a lot of books together on YouTube, and I can use that music. And when it goes through the checks, it doesn't copyright check it because
That's
it's
good to know.
free. It's free for commercial use.
Thank
I'm
you.
not. I'm not sure exactly how many genres of music there are, but there's some there that you can check out if you.
That's good to know.
And that comes the next question: what genres do you guys like to write besides? Is it always going to be children's book and maybe memoirs, or are you
The
gonna
memoirs
venture out?
memoirs are there's different ways of looking at that because some are psychological, some are drama, some are siding a little bit with horror. And then, of course, you have the different ones that are for children, and they're mostly adventure. But when you tie in, such as shyness, or you tie in things that children are going through when they're younger, or things that they have problems with, and there's a whole bunch of things that kids have issues with. But so if you can write a book that helps the children with that kind of an issue, it actually comes across really good and it sells well. And it's not just it sells well, but it helps the children so much. Like the Tommy Turtle and the Shyness, and it lets the child know that, yeah, they can come out of their shell and it's okay. And it's also okay to be inside. It's okay to be shy at times because it's normal and they don't have to feel bad about it. Or if they have, like I said, a prosthetic leg or something, or there's kids, even in small towns, there's kids and they're in wheelchairs for one reason or another. And it helps other kids understand that, yes, they may have a disability, but it doesn't prevent them from doing many things. They can still be a normal as possible child and they can be involved and they can play even some sports if they're in a wheelchair. But there are things that they can't do. They have limits, but they can do things. And like in the bully book, we used mice. We had a big cheese festival. So that was really kind of fun to do. And it makes kids think about how they feel if they're picked on and called names and being bullied. It really helps. And then Susie Secret, the one that was stolen, That one, she took silver medal. And that one is very simple. The illustrations are extremely simple for on purpose because we don't want kids to get involved into the illustration. They're more of a simple illustration, very simple, because we want the kids to understand the story. And the book is set up so that parents or educators can actually read the section in the back that's for parents and educators, and then they can gear the book for the child's age. And they can read the story for the child's age, and they can use, if they want to use something to help explain where somebody should, where a bad touch would be, they can use a swimsuit rule. And that kids, they all know the swimsuits, so that works very well for them. So those things, our books, we try to have them be fun, educational, and to take on problems that are out in the world with kids right now. What's going on? We want to help kids.
Right.
We love kids. What can I say? We love
my
kids.
my best friend has 8 kids, and she's got them ranging from like 4 to 22. So, um, I send her a lot of your books when they come out because her younger children like them too. So, and she homeschools, so that's a good it's a good way to help her out, with
Thank you.
reading and them to learn about those kind of issues.
Thank you.
Even though they like go to a co-op a couple of times a week, and they have their other things that they do to get the socialization in, it still helps, reading about it and that kind of thing. So, and you're welcome. What do you think makes a good story? Is there certain aspects just that you think has to be in there and it makes a good story, or do you think it just comes from the heart, or what?
I think, um, well, of course, the memoirs come from the heart, but the kids' books do too. But what makes a good story is you have to have a hook, something that is going to be interesting, that will grab the attention of a child or a parent who wants to help their child with something that their child's having difficulty with, like shyness or something like that. So I just think that you can't just write and not really have any goal or target in mind. And you have to get out of your comfort zone. If it's something you don't know much about, but you want to write a story about it, you need to get out and start doing some research. Do the research, because if you don't do the research and you don't have it all, you're not going to have a book that's any good. So, if it's something that you're not familiar with, you have to do the research. For me, I didn't have to research on any of those books that have been written yet because I've had it, with my nursing background and everything, and with patients, I've had all of that. So I didn't have to do any research, but still,
Right. I did a lot of research with the few that I wrote, but the one that I didn't have to were the autism ones. I have a couple that are, and I had that, like you said, I had that knowledge already, so I didn't have to do that. So I agree with you. You have to know what you're writing about, or it's not going
it's
to be a good book.
essential to know your subject matter and to be able to present it in a manner that definitely you know your subject matter, and so you are qualified to write and teach about it,
Right.
because that's what our books do. They teach kids, they help kids, and kids like them. So, I mean, they like seeing dragons and different things. So they like seeing squirrels. They like kids like that stuff. And so if you have the right combination of you choose an animal or a character, you choose an issue, and then if it's not something you know that much about, then you need to do the research. And without it, you won't have a book. Just won't happen. You can't just do that. And there are those people. I have had a couple of times when I have started to read books and I put them down. And I've hated to do that, but sometimes that's just, they're not readable.
Right. Um, is there anything else that you want to say about any of the other books that you've written?
Oh, no, not really. Everybody can go to whenangelsfly.net and they can look at the under the books, and there's a category for memoirs, and then there's one for children's books, and they can go to every single book there is. There's a different page for it all. And then on those pages is also listed all the awards that each book has received. So
Okay.
it's all there.
Okay. We'll do some fun questions now. If you guys
Fun
could,
questions.
yeah. Well, they've all been fun, but I'm just saying. If you could choose to live anywhere in the world and money wasn't an issue, where would you choose and why?
Probably we would live in the Rocky Mountains as a home base. I think. I think that my husband, he loves to play poker, like in Black Hawk casinos. So I think we'd like to live near Black Hawk, and we wouldn't be that far where we could run down to Denver, and get in the airport and go somewhere. So I think that's where we'd want to live. What do you? I'm thinking that's be a good place to be. We wouldn't
Yeah.
do the snow removal. We'd hire that out. So
Yeah.
we'd just have the smell of the pines, and we'd be we would have to, we wouldn't be having anything out there that the black bears would want to eat. So everything would be fine.
Yes. If you had three wishes and you could choose anything that you wanted, what would you choose and why?
For me, with three wishes, I would choose for perfect health, better health, because it's limiting. I am limited in many things, and that prevents me from enjoying as much. I mean, I would like to be able to enjoy more things in life than what I'm able to do right now. So that would be, I think, number one wish would be our health, both of us, whether it's a bad back or what's going on. Other wishes, it's health first. If you have health, everything else fits in some way.
Right.
If you have your health, you can do whatever you need to have your money or whatever you need. So really, it's health, because
Right.
other wishes that I would want, those are people that are already in heaven, and I don't want them to come back. I want them to stay where they're in perfect happiness and love, and that's all they know. I don't want anything like that. So it's really
Right.
health.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, but I don't have three wishes. I have one.
I think the only other thing that I might would be, if that would be attainable, but I don't, it's not. It would be peace, just for everyone to love everyone and just everything be
Yeah,
peaceful. But I think also if you don't have conflict, then you'll never know true happiness too. So that's kind
Exactly.
of
It's
everything
true.
can't be perfect or you wouldn't learn. So yeah,
No.
that's a hard
But
one.
if both of us had our health back, we would be able to be more active and do more things and be more involved with causes, especially when I was working as a nurse. I did work with the American Cancer Society for quite a few years, and also with March Dimes. And I did a lot with both. Those were two, and I did things with Boy Scouts with the scouting. So our son is an Eagle Scout, and we've gone to Washington D.C. with children. We took on extra children, sponsored them for music trips and things. And those are things that we've been able to help with other people and other kids, and we're not able to do that now. So, that comes back to, if you have your health back, your activity level is back, and you can do all these things with all these other people and organizations and help make a difference in all of it.
Right. Yeah, health is it helps you do a lot of things. That's true. And I think you
And
already answered the one about if you could give advice to new riders, what it would be. So,
my advice for new writers is just to write the story. Don't worry about the editing. Just write the story. Get it down. Editing can come later. You need to get the
right,
story down while you're thinking about it, and if you need to always have a little notepad or something with you, so if you get an idea, you can jot it down and you won't forget it, because if you don't, you will forget it. Invariably, it will be forgotten. So
right,
you just, I did touch on that a little bit, but if you're writing a story, you need to just write it, get it all down. Don't worry about editing. Don't even really worry about your word count. If all you can do is one paragraph on a day, that's good because you did it. If you can put out a whole chapter, then that's good too. But you also have to read, and if you don't read, you can't write very good.
right.
And I read every day,
Hmm.
and that's a big thing.
What's your favorite genre to read?
Oh, I have all kinds,
You
but
have all kinds.
I do like romance. I like Regency and Victorian romance. Actually,
Mm,
I love those. But I also have some contemporary romance writers that I like, and some of them I'm friends with, such as Katie Metner. She's a good friend, and now she's writing for Harlequin.
mm.
So, sh hi, Katie. I'll let her know I said her name here.
I'll have
She's
to
she's
check her
great.
out.
She is great. She is publishing her 50th book,
Wow, that's good.
and she has a prosthetic leg.
Oh,
She has different things going on, and she includes in all of her romances, she includes situations where somebody has a prosthesis or there's something else that's going on. There's a problem. There's always a problem, and there's a way to get to there's a solution. And the romance, of course, is involved there. And some of them are involved with Christmas time or snowy weather. She lives in Wisconsin, so she gets a little more snow there.
oh, I
And
love
then
it.
she tackles issues that most of the women would have, but sometimes it's one that a man would have. So she takes those issues, and she's also an educator, or she was, um, especially with early childhood development and everything. So I mean, she has college degrees, and but she can take those books and they're contemporary and they fit. They just fit so well. And yes, they all do end in a happily ever after. But she's really a great creative writer. She has Katie Mettner, Mettner.
Yeah, I'll have to check her out. I look the Happily Ever After books; those are good.
She's getting ready to
Um,
do her 50th book, and is we're I'm going to help her do a publicity thing on that. And like I said, now she's writing for Harlequin, and she's friends with Debbie McComber, who, she has books she puts into movies a lot for Hallmark. So
right.
that's me. I like romance. Now, my husband, he usually reads poker books on poker and stuff. So
So he likes more of the fact-based stuff.
he does, but there's also science. There's a little bit of sci-fi stuff we like. So
Yeah, I
there's
tried
always
my
that.
hand at science fiction. It was kind of a young adult science fiction, but I never did get the second book wrote. But
Well, I'm
uh,
thinking in the next book that we do, I think we're probably going to pull a squirrel into it. But I think they're going to go to the moon. We're going to teach the kids about some of that and
oh,
the space station.
I'll have to keep up
And
to date with that one. My son loves space.
you can go to Pixabay, and Pixabay has photos you can use for free, and they are from NASA of the space station and that kind of thing. So that's a plus to have those available. And then it's not like we don't have any squirrels. So, so it wouldn't be Shadow and Friends, book 13. It would be a standalone book like our others.
Right.
But
That
I just
sounds
think
good.
that instead of sending like a monkey or something or a dog or something, why not send a squirrel to space?
Yeah, yeah.
I think kids like that.
Just keep me informed on that, and I'll make sure I get it when it comes out for
Well, that's
my
the one I've been
son.
tossing around in my mind lately.
What is your favorite movie based on a book, or favorite TV
Oh,
show based on a book? And that your husband can answer
oh,
too as well.
okay. How about a favorite movie based on a book?
Favorite movie based on a book would probably be Misery by Stephen King.
Oh, I
We've
love that movie too.
it it is intense the entire way through, and
The intensity level never stops. It just goes and goes and goes.
Right.
And the actors are good.
yeah, they
Kathy
were.
Bates, she's
Have you
good.
have you actually watched the new Firestarter movie, the new reboot that they come out with?
No, I have not seen that. I have seen the original. It's been a while, but um, most of the movies that they when they take Stephen King's movies, they are usually pretty good. Especially the more involved he is with the movie. If they just take his book and put it out there without much of his feedback, it seems to lack. But you can always tell when he's more involved because it's truer to the books and it has more depth. So
Right, yeah. I like the first one better than the new reboot, but yeah. I understand what you're saying on that. How about TV show? What's your favorite TV show based on a book, if you have one?
not right off, not that I can think of right off the top of my head. No, I don't. Um,
I think mine would probably be Lock and Key at this point. I love that one. Are you a gamer? I know you said you, or Mary said that you like to play poker. Do you like to play video games or anything based on a book or computer games?
Not too much of a gamer anymore. Played video games way back when years ago, but no, don't really play the games. Don't really have the time for it right now. So
Right. Your grandchildren probably like that a little bit. All the electronics, they're all stuck to them.
yeah.
um, so, what is your favorite childhood memory, if you have one?
Um, when I was really young, my we didn't go on vacation very often. And I remember the first time that my parents took us to Colorado and see the mountains, um, because you can see it on TV and books and stuff, but until you see it in real life, that was probably one of the biggest exciting things. One of my first good favorable memories, that I really enjoy, and I haven't forgotten it. So
Yeah, like those kind of memories, seems to be like when you're on vacation, you can focus on each other more than, the everyday life,
yes.
work and, all that kind of thing. Um, is there anything else that you guys would want your readers to know about you all? Anything that you want to update them on? I know she said she was thinking about the new book about the moon. Is there anything else in the works?
There's always things that are running around or we discuss. It might just be a small conversation about a topic, and sometimes they don't go anywhere or get set on the back burner. And just like our children's books, we'd have an idea and then another, and we'd be kind of talking it out. And then it might be a week or so later, and something else pops up, and we'll completely change direction and go after that one because we're both really excited at that, and then we'll come back to some of the other stories that we'd been thinking about. So
Kind of
we
like the space one,
yeah we
right?
just
The
yeah,
space station.
we just kind of let the flow take us where it is, because if you're inspired, you have a tendency to put your pure heart and soul in it to try to make it as best book as you can. So
Right. Um, and does Mary always make all of the graphics and the book covers herself?
yes, she always does, and as she's working on the illustrations, usually, you know she'll have a page done or the cover, and yeah, she always we work together on it. I'll look and see what she's done. We'll discuss it, you know, make changes, you know, all the way through the illustration. But yes, she does the illustrations, but we collaborate together on what seems to work right. If the color's wrong or the something like that, or maybe this needs to be added to the illustration or something needs to be taken out. So yes.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. If you guys have anything else you want to add, you can do that. But as I said, I'll put the giveaways in the comment section, and I will also pin all of your links where everybody will know where to follow you, both of you guys. And I will post it on Facebook, YouTube, all the social media. Make sure that the word gets out.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, and you guys have a good night. Until Mary, I'll message her later and have a good night.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, book gossipers. As I said, I will have everything in the comments section, all the links, so everyone can look at all the books. I will have all the follow links and everything. And until next time, book lovers, keep on reading.